Now, today is set to be another busy one on the politics front. It's not over on the council elections yet. We're still waiting for more to come through. Plus, of course, we have 7 mayoral election results on the way as well.
Well, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has said the Conservatives have everything to fight for as his party celebrate a win in Tees Valley.
Now, the Conservatives, though, once all the council seats are in, are predicted to have lost about half of their councillors, so we think.
Well, joining us now is the Deputy National Campaign Coordinator for the Labour Party, Ellie Reeves. Good to see you this morning. Ellie, look, it wasn't a good night so far for the Tories, but it hasn't been sunshine and roses for the Labour Party either. You lost control of the council in Oldham, which was a shock result to many putting it down to the Muslim vote there, protesting Labour's stance on Gaza. This is a warning shot, isn't it, to the Labour Party in a general election year?
Well, if you look at the results across the country, I'm really pleased that we won the Blackpool by-election, for example, with a swing to Labour of 26%, the third highest swing to Labour in a post-war by-election. We won councils up and down the country in places we need to win back at the general election: Hartlepool, Thurrock, Redditch, Rushmore. These are important results for us. But I recognise the point that you make. In Oldham, actually, we'd been losing councillors there for a couple of years, so I don't think Gaza is the only reason. There's some local issues as well. But I do recognise that we need to win back the trust and support of those that didn't feel able to vote for us in this set of elections. We've made our position in relation to Gaza clear. We've called for an immediate ceasefire. We've said there should be no ground offensive in Rafah, but we also want a lasting political solution which includes recognition of the state of Palestine. So between now and the general election, we'll be working really hard to win back support of those that didn't feel they could put their trust in us this time.
It's difficult talking to people like you on days like this, because when we talk to the Tories, we say, well, it's been very disappointing, and they say, well, it's disappointing, but, you know, it's not as bad as it could have been. Obviously, the Labour Party has done very well, so you've got a lot to be pleased about. However, isn't it fair to say maybe your expectations were a bit higher?
Look, I think we're pleased but not complacent. But, you know, I think a good barometer of the public mood is the East Midlands mayoralty. That's a new mayoralty. So, you know, it's different to, for example, Tees Valley, where we're up against an incumbent mayor with very much their own brand, distancing himself from the Conservatives. East Midlands is a new mayoralty, which Labour won. The important thing about that is that within that area, there are a large number of battleground seats that we need to win at the general election to form a government. Places like Bolsover, Mansfield, South Derbyshire, the seats that we need to win. So that's why winning in the East Midlands is a really good indicator of the mood and where things are going.
Yeah, but if you use these as some sort of barometer, and I know it's a dodgy science in a sense, but it would put Labour, if it was sort of translated into a parliamentary election, it puts Labour as the largest party, but no overall majority.
Well, at local elections, you always see independents and the smaller parties picking up more votes than at the general election. The important thing for us is looking at where we made gains, whether we're making gains in the areas that we need to win at the general election. Places like Hartlepool, places like Thurrock, Rushmore, Redditch, these are the areas that we need to win at the general election. So that's what we're focused on with these sets of results.
Talking about a barometer of public mood, if we look at the Blackpool South by-election, the turnout was just 32.5%. I mean, turnouts are generally low at by-elections, but it does demonstrate, doesn't it, that nobody is getting voters out. A lot of them are sitting on their hands. There's not the excitement of 96 and 97. There isn't this groundswell of excitement and enthusiasm for Sir Keir Starmer and the Labour Party.
Well, I'm not sure I agree with that. I spend a lot of time speaking to voters on the doorstep, and the course of this campaign I spoke to voters across the country who had said that they'd always voted Conservative, but they were fed up after 14 years of Conservative government, the mismanagement of the economy leading to people paying higher mortgage rates, NHS waiting lists staggeringly high, and they were putting their trust in Labour, often for the first time or for the first time for a long time. And, turnouts are always lower in by-elections and in local elections. That result in Blackpool was pretty seismic, a 26% swing to Labour, the third highest in any post-war by-election. It does show people are putting their trust in the Labour Party.
It's interesting. It's a valid point Ellie raises, Ellie at this end, that is, in that the number of messages we got yesterday of people just saying, when we said, who would you like to see elected, and then people are just saying none of the above, which actually is, that's worrying for democracy in this country.
Well, what we've seen in this set of election results is people are coming out to vote for Labour and putting their trust in us. And that's demonstrated by the council results where we have picked up councils. A council like Rushmore that we've never held before, Milton Keynes that we've taken control of after many, many years. So I think there's a positive story to tell, but we are never complacent. We fought for every vote in these local and mayoral elections, and indeed in Blackpool South, and we'll fight for every vote at the general election as well.
I wanted to ask you about your colleague, the Shadow Health Secretary, Wes Streeting. He's facing huge backlash, isn't he, for a post that he made on X, claiming that a win for the Tories in London in this mayoral election is a win for racists, white supremacists and Islamophobes the world over. Do you think that was an appropriate post by your colleague?
I think things always get heated in any election campaign. It's perhaps not something that I would have posted, but things do get heated. And I think Wes was trying to make the point that it's been a fairly toxic campaign, and Sadiq Khan faces a huge amount of racism throughout this campaign. I think that's the important thing to call out.
Isn't he adding to the toxicity with that kind of rhetoric on X towards people that vote Tory in London? Lee Anderson lost the Tory whip for his comments about the London Mayor Sadiq Khan, which many claimed were racist, and people are calling now for Wes Streeting to suffer the same consequences.
No, I don't think that at all. As I say, things get heated in election campaigns. I don't think it's anything like what Lee Anderson said, or the shocking amount of racism that Sadiq Khan has faced in his time as mayor and during this campaign.
OK, Ellie Reeves, really good to talk to you. We'll talk to you again soon, no doubt. Thanks very much indeed.